Welcome, everyone. I am just so thrilled that you took the time to join us today. Want to welcome you again, and we really look forward to hearing your feedback on our draft environmental justice strategic plan. And we want to get started right away because we want to make sure that we leave plenty of time to hear from you. So thank you again and look forward to your feedback. And I will turn it over to OEJ's policy advisor, Sophia.
Thank you, Cynthia. Good evening. As mentioned, my name is Sophia Johnson, and I'm a policy advisor and contractor in DOJ's Office of Environmental Justice. I'm excited to share with you briefly about DOJ and environmental justice. Let's start with what is environmental justice, or OEJ or EJ as it is commonly abbreviated. For a long time, it was left to each federal agency to make that determination. However, in April of 2023, with the issuance of Executive Order 14096, we were provided with the first ever official definition for environmental justice for use by federal government agencies. It states that environmental justice means the just treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of income, race, color, national origin, tribal affiliation, or disability, in agency decision-making and other federal activities that affect human health and the environment. It builds on a definition that was developed by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency years ago, and that many federal agencies were already using, but it provides a consistent description now that can be applied by agencies across the board. Next, let's discuss the department's mission. DOJ's mission to uphold the rule of law, to keep our country safe, and to protect civil rights has long intersected with environmental justice. Our commitment is most evident in our enforcement work, as we resolve enforcement actions that help communities with EJ concerns, and as we bring cases under federal environmental and natural resource laws. As the Justice Department strives to make EJ a top priority, there are several core mandates which guide attorneys and professional staff as they work to identify and address EJ matters. Some of those mandates are EO 14008, which directed DOJ to develop a comprehensive environmental justice enforcement strategy, and which encouraged the creation of the Office of Environmental Justice. Another is EO 14096, which envisions a government-wide approach to environmental justice and directs all federal agencies to publish an environmental justice strategic plan. You'll hear more about DOJ's plan shortly. But first, let me share a little more about the new office that was created as a result of EO 14008. The Office of Environmental Justice was established in 2002. It was created to enhance the department's efforts to secure environmental justice for all communities. OEJ is housed in the department's Environment and Natural Resources Division, but works in collaboration with all DOJ components, particularly the Civil Rights Division and the Office of Tribal Justice, both of which have designated liaisons to OEJ. We're going to look at OEJ's primary mission and goals. OEJ goals include striving to weave EJ into the fabric of the department's work so that it becomes a permanent and intrinsic part of what we do. This means engaging all components to work together to focus our efforts on EJ to serve those communities most at risk of harm. Some of OEJ's goals consist of building partnerships with EJ organizations and community leaders, and ensuring communities have an opportunity to provide input in the decisions that will affect their environment. The office also plays a leadership role in implementing the 2022 Comprehensive Environmental Justice Enforcement Strategy and in drafting the agency's forthcoming EJ plan, which we want to hear from you about. I'll turn it over to Lauren to share more about the upcoming plan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Marks. I am an attorney advisor with the Office of Environmental Justice, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about DOJ's draft EJ strategic plan. As Sophia previously mentioned, Executive Order 14096 directs all federal agencies to publish an environmental justice strategic plan, which outlines our vision, our goals, our priority actions, and metrics we plan to use to address and advance environmental justice. This plan must be submitted and published by October of 2024. Today, we're going to focus on the meat of our EJ strategic plan, which is the goal-setting portion. This describes the department's plans to advance environmental justice through the tools and goals we have here at the department. What's important to note is that this plan is going to incorporate all the previous, current, and future work we plan to do to advance environmental justice here at the Department of Justice. The first goal that we've come up with is to prioritize cases and make strategic use of the department's legal tools. In order to meet this goal, some of the objectives that we've come up with include prioritizing cases that will reduce public health and environmental harms to communities with environmental justice concerns. Ways we think we can do this is to promote the fact that the Department of Justice is primarily a law enforcement agency. And because of that, one of the biggest tools we have to advance environmental justice comes from filing lawsuits and the legal tools that come along with those. That includes things like settlements, mediations, and filing legal briefs with the court. DOJ also has the ability to enforce environmental laws. Sophia, you can go back to the first slide. I'm not quite done. Thank you. DOJ also has the ability to enforce environmental laws, civil rights laws, and laws that protect workers and consumers from harm. We also want to continue working with tribal concerns that weave into our enforcement work and want to work with tribes during litigation while also recognizing their sovereign status. Our second objective that we've come up with is to pursue the full range of remedies available under the law. Our ideas for this include using other legal tools that the department has to help advance environmental justice, including filing briefs that are considered friend of the court briefs, utilizing the department's community relations service. That service helps localities with concerns that may arise without resulting in litigation. And we would like to increase legal services following climate and environmental disasters. We also are hoping to be creative with the kinds of relief that we can obtain in settlements that advance environmental justice. We would like to hear from you as to how this goal and these objectives you think could be achieved beyond the ideas that we have come up with. Go on to the next slide. The second goal that we've developed is meaningfully engaging with impacted communities and expanding efforts to communicate the department's environmental justice efforts and results to all stakeholders. The objectives that help us reach this goal that we've identified are tracking the department's progress through increased reporting of EJ efforts and results. Ways that we can do this is by providing the public a centralized place for press releases and reporting on DOJ's efforts so that we can increase awareness of our mission and our purpose related to advancing environmental justice. We also want to increase our community outreach, our public participation, and increase awareness of the department and its environmental justice initiatives. In order to do this, some of the ideas that we have come up with are improving our outreach and engaging in more outreach and public participation during lawsuits, as well as engaging in outreach to learn about general EJ concerns, including engaging with nation-to-nation consultation. We would like to hear from you on how we can improve our ideas for outreach. Finally, next we have our third goal, which is to increase education and collaboration within and outside the Department of Justice. Some objectives that we've come up with in order to achieve this goal include continuing development of environmental justice related training for staff. One way we can do that is to ensure that our staff is educated on all the ways that the legal landscape is changing related to environmental justice. This includes updating staff on important judicial opinions and how they could impact our work, and working with other offices within the Department of Justice that enforce civil rights laws, consumer protection laws, and environmental laws to share our knowledge for all of us to be able to achieve this work together. We want to develop ways to assess environmental justice while continuing our investigations, as well as identifying environmental justice concerns in referrals from other agencies that send us cases. For example, agencies like EPA are already reviewing their cases for environmental justice prior to referring them to us, and we're hoping to encourage other agencies to do the same. Finally, we want to continue our collaboration with tribal governments on the development of our environmental justice materials, and we would like to continue to review and update those materials on a regular basis. Our second objective under this goal is to expand efforts to collaborate with federal, state, local, and tribal and territorial partners. Some ways we think we can achieve this objective are continuing collaboration with these governments that we've already been collaborating with, including tribal governments. We have parts of the department that review proposed legislation and rulemakings, and we want to find ways to consider if there's ways to enhance environmental justice in that legislation and in those rulemakings. We also want to engage the parts of the department that defend other federal agencies in lawsuits to continue counseling those agencies on how they can enhance environmental justice in their work prior to lawsuits being filed. Finally, we want to consider our special responsibilities related to federally recognized tribes and the unique issues that are involved in cases like these, such as treaty rights and tribal sovereignty rights. We'd love to hear from you how you think we can increase education and collaboration with other partners. Finally, the last goal that we have developed is assessing and evaluating environmental justice in the department's climate adaptation efforts, including management of its procurement and real property. I recognize that is a bit of a mouthful. One of the objectives we've come up with underneath this goal to ensure we can meet this goal is to ensure that the Department of Justice considers environmental justice in the management and operation of its agency. We hope to meet this goal by considering that the department currently has climate adaptation plans and sustainability plans, which are meant to ensure that we are considering environment and communities with environmental justice concerns when making decisions about programming and procurement of real property. We also want to make sure that we're sharing knowledge across the department offices about communities with environmental justice concerns and using the tools that are available to the federal government, such as the Environmental Justice Screening Tool, to help identify communities with environmental justice concerns in order to help guide our future practices.